Hey everybody, it's Anu. I'm going live on this one again. We're in our fourth video of the series, #GirlBoss. If you haven't had a chance to watch those videos, they are on our Facebook page. So I've really enjoyed the topics that we've covered in the past few weeks. I think they've been the fun side of leadership, if you want to call it that. You know, we've talked about loving people and serving them and empowering them. This week, though, I think we're getting into something that's probably the most challenging thing for me as a leader, and that is having the hard conversations, because hard conversations are just hard. But thankfully, I think Deborah's story reminds us that having the hard conversations is part of being a good leader. And I think we see that in a couple of ways with her. First of all, we know that she was a judge. And so, people are coming to her all day long, and she's having to decide on their cases. So some people are walking away happy with her decision, and some people are walking away not happy. And that is just inevitable when you're in leadership, that not everyone is going to be happy with every decision that you make. That's just part of it. And secondly, we also see, just even in the conversation she had with Barack, if you remember how that went, we talked about it last week. Yes, she launched him into his assignment, but then he decides, you know what, I'll go, but I need you to go with me. And she's fine with that, but then she tells him, okay, I'll do it, but here's the consequences of that. Here's kind of the result of that. And it's in verse 9. She says, you're not going to get the full glory for this. This was your victory to have, but now because you've decided to, have me come with you, sorry, this is just how it's going to go. So she's willing to have that conversation with him. So I think as women, it is so in us to be nurturing. Like, we just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And so having the hard conversations is something that, we struggle with. But I think if we can change how we see it and see it as a good thing and understand that as a leader, I'm going to help this person grow maybe in some way, then again, it shifts our perspective and helps us. So again, I told you guys, this is a challenge for me. I struggle with it. So I was kind of thinking just of the whole process of these hard conversations, and I thought I'd walk you guys through it as well. So, there's kind of this before part, the during part, and the after part. So before you're going to have this hard conversation, the obvious thing to do is you pray. And you just want to make sure, and I want to make sure, that we are seeing this the right way. We want to make sure that our heart isn't coming at this in a critical way, but in a way that just really wants to help this person instead. And it's not about bringing them down. It's really about lifting them up in some way. And so you pray and you ask God to be in the conversation, to guide your words, for the Holy Spirit's presence to be there. There's so many ways that we can pray over the situation before we're even in it. So I would just encourage you to do that. And then also understand, do you have relational collateral with this person? And what that means is, if you've just said 2 words to them in the past, this conversation probably isn't going to be received that well. If you have a relationship with them, though, they trust you. They know your heart is for them. And so it's a different conversation in that sense. So then during the conversation, my husband has really taught me this, and that is go in asking questions. Don't assume that you know all of the facts. Stay curious, because what that will do for them is it's not coming at them in an accusing way. Instead, you're genuinely curious and wanting to know their take on the situation. It's a completely different conversation when we approach it that way. And then you can even say things like, help me understand, what was going on here. And again, you see how that doesn't put them on the defensive as much. It's still a hard conversation, but you're showing that your heart is to understand more than anything else. And then finally, you just want to affirm them. I've been in conversations where people will drop a bomb on you and then really just leave you kind of alone to bleed in it. And you don't want to do that. Like, you just want to be there to walk them through it and really support them and love them through it. Because again, your heart is to see them grow, and they need to know that you are there for them. So again, I know this is hard as a leader to do this, but it is part of being a good leader, is having these hard conversations. So next week we will actually conclude our series on hashtag Girl Boss. So I hope this encourages you and maybe challenges you, that and just reminds you that it is okay to have the hard conversations, and it's part of being a good leader. So that's it for tonight. God bless you guys. Have a great night.